the guy in America from Ohio that had this plan to put some pipe bombs in and around the Capitol building in Washington D.C. And as people were running out, he was going to be shooting them, and that was what the FBI is saying. And his father, he's saying, "Well, my son's not smart enough to come up with that kind of plan. He doesn't even have any money," he said. Gee. Talking about living up to low expectations, yeah. My son's not smart enough to do something like that, and he doesn't even have money to buy those kind of guns. I'm sorry, but that sounded really funny to me, the way he said it, and they kind of sound like backwoods people, but I don't mean that in a bad way either, though, because wherever you go, there's good people and bad people, and smart people and dumb people. Yeah, even among Indians, we have some pretty dumb asses in the Indian country too. They have an organization called. They're so. Even though they're a bunch of dumbasses are in there, somehow they organize themselves into the American Indian movement, and to prove to you how stupid they are, they can't even stay together. They can't even function as one unit. They had infighting. They have all these guys. It's a male-dominated world for one thing, and they're all egos. Are all fighting each other. Everybody wants to be the popular one, and there's really no unity there. And then they broke off because for whatever reasons. And some non-Indians who had money were supporting one faction, and so the other faction was saying, "Hey, we're the real ones." And then it turns out that one of them is behind some murders that happened on the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation. Well, that's all coming to light. Yeah, that's all proven now, because a lot of these AIM terrorists are dead. So the people are not afraid to talk anymore. So they're telling what really happened, and what really happened was that the American Indian movement, after that Wounded Knee takeover in 1973, that they left people behind to make sure the people on that reservation don't talk. So it's very much the East German kind of thing happening there. Yeah, no kidding. So you really had to be careful who you talked to. And you had to be careful what you said, because people would turn each other in. That's the kind of thing that happened in East Germany. And so, like I said, this is it's all about terror. It's all about stupidity. It's all about macho. It's all about egos trying to overthrow one another, and there is absolutely no humility whatsoever in that organization. Now, granted, I gave them the benefit of the doubt. I took my time and I checked these guys out. I even went to one of their Sundances. And when I was there, that was probably the most uncomfortable I've ever felt in my whole life. You had guys walking around the Sundance arena with machine guns, automatic, semi-automatic rifles, and those were illegal at that time. And it just, and you had AIM guys that were sundancing, piercing, and then they're showing off their pierce marks, like they just won some kind of major contest or something, like endurance contest. And that's not what the ceremonies are about. The ceremonies are about humility. And I didn't see that one bit at this ceremony. Even their fake medicine man is just total macho bullshit. Yeah, and I didn't feel any sense of humility, and people were like, if you're looking at somebody, they say, "Hey, what are you looking at?" You see what I mean? This is not humility. This is not generosity. That's stupidity. And they didn't last. Yeah, stupidity doesn't last, And today they're a joke, and they do not represent the voice of Native people. They only represent their own selfish agendas, nothing more. And they are racists. If you disagree with them, they will call you gay, which is really funny because in a lot of tribes in North America, to be homosexual is a special thing. So it shows you they don't even know their own culture. And most of them, well, in fact, today I can say all of them can't even speak their own language. They only speak English. They can't speak their own language. And like I said, they are racists. And they're saying, hey, what's wrong with the world is, the white people think with their heads and the Indian people think with their hearts. And we need to be like Indians. See, that's what they're saying. That's racist because, see, Lakota Star Knowledge teaches we have to use both our minds and hearts. If you just use your heart, you're going to turn into a victim. And then you're going to victimize those that you consider weaker than you. And the American Indian movement is a really good representation of that. What you heard me say about duality in Christianity in the beginning, about how they're about out to control people. This American Indian movement is a product of that. They're the same thing. It's just a brown-skinned version of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, it's the same thing, and you cannot. When you fight hatred with hatred, the result is hatred to the power of hatred. You know what I mean? It just explodes exponentially, and it just destroys nature. So this is why I do not support the American Indian movement. This is why, according to Lakota Star Knowledge, organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, the Aryan Nations, the neo-Nazis, and American Indian movement all violate nature. Yeah, so that's why I said, there's assholes and stupid El Stupidos, I almost said. There's stupid people among Indians too. Yeah, we're not all smart. Just some of us are, but not everybody. But that's the way it is wherever you go. Yeah, wherever you go in this world, you're going to find nice people, not so nice people, some smart people, and not so smart people. Wherever you go, you're going to find that, because that does not belong to a skin color. That is how a person is. Yeah, so that's the most one really important thing I want to say on this show. I try to say that every day. Sometimes I forget, but I try to do that every day. Is that it's not the race, it's not the culture that says something is good. It's how a person lives. Because there's people who go to sundances, there's people who go to ceremonies every day, no matter what religion it is or tribe or whatever, and they come out of that ceremony and then they start bitching about what's wrong with this and what's wrong with that, but they don't do anything about it. Yeah, they start saying, see, that's how the white people are. See, our tribal council, they're acting like white people now. That's racist. That is racist to the max, because I know a lot of white people that are really good people. Really good people. I've had white people that have bent over backwards for me to help me out of difficult situations. It was not because of our skin colors. It was because we were friends. We are friends. It had nothing to do with skin color. So I really don't like it when people say, well, the Washichu, they need to go home. Yeah. Well, there is it's proven now, scientifically proven, that a lot of the DNA that is in ancient Europe is actually from America, North America. So if you're Indian racist and you're saying the white people need to go back to where they came from, well, they are. They already are. Because the European DNA, there's way underneath all that. It matches what's in the Indian world. See this, and this is proven in other situations too. There was an ice bridge from France to southern Canada. Yeah, there was an ice bridge there. That ice bridge was there for, I think, what they say, 10,000 years or something like that. Several thousand years, this ice bridge was there, and people were traveling back and forth. Yeah, there was the winter was really hard in Europe, so they were looking south. And they just went wherever they could walk. Wherever the ice would stay hard. So they kept going and going, and here they ended up in Canada. They met people who are already living there. There was difficulties, but then some of them interacted with each other, and they had kids. Remember, this bridge was there for several thousand years. So some of these people went back to Europe. These people that were part Indian and part ancient European. Some of them went back to Europe, and some of them stayed in North America. So that means in Europe, the native DNA was here way before Columbus ever existed, way before the Vikings ever decided to come in that direction. So there was native blood in Europe thousands and thousands and thousands of years before the Vikings even got the idea to head further than Greenland. So when you're saying the white people need to return, you need to go home, and they already are, because a part of their ancestry is in North America. Think about that. Yeah. See, people go nuts when all they think about is the skin color and stuff, and the sad reality is that skin color didn't come into existence until many thousands of years after humans came on the Earth. Yeah, when the star knowledge says that humans come on the Earth in 5 locations, and at that time there was only one continent, one land. And that what used to be east and west today is north and south. And that these 5 groups interacted with each other, and this is a lot of different cultures were born from that. So this shows you that we are the same species. It proves to you that we're the same species. See, there's an American Indian movement activist who's dead now by the name of Russell Means, and he says in his book that white people and Indian people should never mix, because when they do, they weaken the species of both races. That's what he says. That's Hitler. That's what Hitler says. The Russell Means is like a Lakota Hitler. Yeah, this is actually what he said. It's just kind of sad, because some of his own offspring is mixed blood. So he's actually, when he's talking like that, he's basically putting down his own grandchildren. And yet they defend him, even though he technically put them down. Yeah, do you see what I mean? Stupidity. Yeah, it's unbelievable how stupid some Indians can be. So I should say how some people can be, and Russell Means is one of them. And so this star knowledge story, it shows you that people mixed from all over. The reason why is because they saw that each other's babies, they were speaking the same language, and that's when they realized, hey, we're all the same. We're all the same species. Yeah. So then, as time goes on, these groups start separating from each other. They start exploring other lands because there's getting to be more of them. So they need more land to live on. So they start spreading out in groups. So wherever they settle, sometimes it's very north, sometimes it's very south, which means they're further away from the sun or they get closer to the sun. So what happens then is that their bodies have to adapt to that. So those who went really north, their skin came, it got lighter. Their hair texture changed. Their eye color changed. Those that were in the south was the other thing. They got darker. Their skin had a different, everything changed. Their hair texture changed. See, that's race. That all comes in thousands and thousands of years after humans come. Yeah? So we were not created as a color. Yeah? We were not created as a skin color. We were created as humans. And that's what Lakota Star Knowledge says. And we were called Ikje Oyate. We were not called Lakota back then. People would say, Ikje Wimachasha, I'm a human man. Ikje Wimia, I am a human woman. That's what that means. Yeah, those are really old terms, and not many people say those anymore because they're racist today. Yeah, so as long as we keep talking about skin color, we're never going to get anywhere. Even among Indians, as long as you start saying, "Yeah, man, this is what white people do this and the white people do that," and seriously, go on a reservation, you're going to see Indians going against each other. Yeah, and sometimes for good reason though. Yeah, but sometimes they go about it in the wrong way. That's the problem. Yeah. So, but you're always having this idea of us against them. We are better. If you don't agree with us, then you're no good. That's the mentality of the American Indian movement. Yeah, that's why I'm saying not all Indians are good. All you Europeans out there listening, listen to me really closely. Not all Indians are good. Just because a guy's last name is Red Cloud, that doesn't mean he's a good guy. Just because somebody says they're a descendant of Sitting Bull, that does not mean they're a good person either. That does not pass down. In Lakota culture, we never talked like that. When Sitting Bull was talking, he never said he was a descendant of so-and-so. Huh? When Crazy Horse was talking to his followers, he never said he was a descendant of so-and-so. Yeah? They earned their honors. But today, you hear a lot of people say, "Yeah, I'm a descendant of Chief, Whoopity Who, and then, so what? That doesn't mean a damn thing. In the Lakota way of thinking, that doesn't mean a damn thing. Because in the Lakota way, you have to earn your honors. You have to, live for your people, and help all people to, bring honor to your name. You don't have honor just because your grandfather did. You cannot live upon the honors that your ancestors created. You have to create your own, because they did too. Yeah, they created their own. They didn't say, "I'm a descendant of so-and-so." They never talk like that. But yet today's Indians do talk like that. That shows you they're thinking un-Lakota like. Yeah, they're being a bunch of uncolas. They're being uncola. Cola is the best friend. Yeah, a lot of people mistranslate that, and they think cola means friend. No, it doesn't. Cola means the best friend, person you trust your life with. In Lakota, we don't say that to everybody. We only say that to people you really, really trust. And for girls, it's mashke. Yeah, and the word kola is used only by men to other men. The word mashke is only spoken by women to other women. Now, what if you have a friend, best friend, who one is a girl and one is a boy? then which one do you use? You don't use any of them. You call each other brother and sister. Yeah, and then again, you have to figure out which one, older or younger. Yeah, because there's four terms: the older brother, younger brother, older sister, younger sister. So you use those terms when you're best friends and one's a man and one's a woman. You use the brother sister terms, but you don't say kola to just anybody. That's a name that somebody has to earn. Yeah, you earn people's trust, and that's Lakota. Yeah, that's the Lakota rules of these words. I just thought I'd put that in there because a lot of people say how kola to everything. Yeah? Even girls are saying that. How they're saying. That's a man's word. Yeah? Huh is the woman's word. But yet some men say huh. Why is that? Because there's an exception to the rule. In our culture and our language and our spirituality, there's always exceptions to the rules. Always. Because remember, Lakota Star Knowledge says there's going to be at least three ways of looking at something. So sometimes with men, when it's a formal situation, or if it's somebody you don't know and you don't know about them and you don't know if you should trust them or whatever, then you go into the formal terms. Yeah. But if it's somebody that you do know and somebody that you trust, or even if it's somebody you don't know but you get a good feeling about them and you want to extend friendship to them, then you use the informal terms. That's why in some occasions men say huh. Yeah, and that's also the same reason why some men, when they ask questions, they'll say he instead of ho. You don't say ho all the time. You only say ho, like I said, for formal situations. Today, people are so dualistic among the in the Indian world, and you have people who say men must always say ho. Women, even women are saying that. They're turning our perspective into a this or that situation. See, that's only two options. That's duality. The ancestral way is it's this, that, and the other, and sometimes there's more than one other, because there's always going to be at least three ways to look at something. See what I mean? So I know there's a lot of Lakota language teachers that are my age and older that they teach their students, and that all men must say "ho," and when they end up talking or trying to talk, it sounds really goofy because nobody talks like that. So and I even catch them off guard breaking their own dualistic rules. So that's how it is. See how things are on the reservation. The people in Europe really idolize Indians, and they think we're perfect, and they think that we're all mystical, and they don't realize what I said earlier, that we went through this experience that I try to talk about every day, where we become dualistic. Yeah? And so just be aware of that. Yeah? I break a lot of people's preconceived notions, and a lot of times when they hear the truth, they don't want to hear it. So they want to keep believing their incorrect preconceived notions because that sounds more romantic to them, which means they're living in a fantasy. They're not living in reality. You have to be careful about that. Yeah, that's how that works. So anyway, so like I said, there's good and bad people wherever you go. Yeah, wherever you go, smart people and dumb people wherever you go. And just thinking of some of my cousins here. I won't say anything. Some of them might be listening, so. Okay, I'm gonna say one. This one of my cousins. He's a guy. I'm not gonna say his name out of respect. In Lakota, we have this um we have this word that it means one thing, but if you say it twice, it means something funny. Yeah, and the word is ta. Ta is when somebody's dead. Yeah, te, ta. You sometimes in some sentences you say te, and sometimes you say ta. It depends on the sentence. Okay, that's the Lakota language rule. That I'm not going to go into that, but we'll focus on the form that's ta. Yeah, that's when something is dead. I mean, there's several words for that, but this is one of them. Yeah, but then when you say ta ta, then it's funny. Even when you hear that word ta, ta ta, even when you hear that, you already get a funny feeling. Yeah, you might not even know what that means, but it already sounds funny. That's how our language is. Eh? It reflects things like that. And I had a cousin who's this way, and he yeah. See, this guy's kind of nuts. I mean, his grandma. See, his dad was an alcoholic, so his grandmother raised him. His grandmother bought him a brand new bicycle. Yeah, and so he was riding around, and then he came back. Grandma, is it time to eat? He said, yeah, sit down. So she, go wash your hands. And he went and washed his hands, came in, and he sat down, eating. She said, so how do you like your bike? Oh, yeah, Annette, he said. She said, wait a minute. Where is your bike? He starts leaking. She said, go get your bike now. She said, don't even eat until you go get your bike first. He said, so, yeah, okay. He said, so he went outside and he skipping down the road, and well, about an hour later, his grandmother came to our house, and she asked my mom, have you seen the grandson? And my mom said, no. He said, I don't know where he's at. So one of my younger cousins stayed with us. She was a young girl, and her name was Jonalyn. I'll say her name because she's like a little sister to me. Yeah, she grew up in our house for several years, and so she's kind of like a little sister to me. So I'm proud to say her name. Yeah, and so she's I think about the same age as this guy. So my mom said, "Could you get in your bike and go see if you can find him?" And I said, "I'll get in my car and look around too." So my mom and her mother, the grandmother, they got in my mom's car and they went looking for this guy. Here he was sitting down in one of these creeks, just throwing mud in the water. And my mom said, "What are you doing?" "Well, I'm just throwing rocks in the water." I said, "Where's your bike at?" "Oh yeah, Annette," he said. So he got up and he said, "You're supposed to be looking for your bike. How come you're not looking for your bike?" "Oh yeah, Annette." And he said, "That's what you call ta-ta, yeah." Turned out that he left his bike. See, this is how he is. His mind is kind of scatterbrained. Yeah, he's kind of dim-witted. And it rained a lot a couple days ago. I mean, before that. And so there, in some parts of town, there was water, like little streams of water going down the hill. And so he made a paper boat or something like that, and he put a stick in there, and he decided to put his bike down and watch this boat go down this little water. And he decided to follow it, and he didn't even think to get his bike. He just left his bike there and started chasing this boat. And then after that, he thought, oh, and apparently he found something else interesting to do, so he went and did that, and he just totally spaced out his bike. And so when we went back to where he said he left it, it wasn't there, so we knew somebody stole it. So we reported it to the police, and then a couple of days later, they found the bike, and it was in the deep in some creek outside of town. So they pulled it out, and it's all muddy and everything like that, and they don't really know who did it. So so my grandmother was really mad at him, man, because geez, I bought you a brand new bike and you didn't even take care of it. Somebody stole it. And so we said, yeah, instead of putting a bicycle chain to the bike, put chain him to the bicycle. that 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 way, if one gets lost, they both get lost. Yeah. Yeah. Now just imagine when somebody like that grows up and becomes an adult. Yeah. Oh man, so that's what that reminded me of what I was saying earlier with this Ohio thing, where this this interview with the father of this this American terrorist, and he's he's not even smart enough to do that. And where he doesn't even have any money. How is he gonna buy all them guns? He doesn't even have any money. But then his father said something that does have a ring of truth to it, though. And what that is that see, the father has a theory. The father is saying that somebody in the FBI must have set him up. He believes somebody in the FBI set him up, and that they gave, that the guy was probably posing as a Al Qaeda or something, and they gave him this money to go buy all these things and like that. Folks, I would listen to that. I'm not going to say that it's what the father is saying is correct, but there's something that does make sense, and that it has to go. It all boils down to the media. Yeah, that whenever something happens in this world, what do? We in the past we turn on the TV and we turn on to a news channel. Even before there was CNN. See, I come from a time period when there was no such thing as a news channel. We just had one channel on the res, yeah, and then later on two. One was public, and the other one was a local channel, local TV channel, and you just waited until news time, or you listened to the radio, and they have news every hour, and that's how you found out when something happened. But then, as as cable TV takes over the world, and you have specialized channels, and then you have a channel that's news 24 hours, with CNN, and in the beginning it was kind of a cool channel, but then the media can, just remember what I just described here. When I was talking about ta. Yeah, just remember that. There's a lot of people in this world that have some level of ta in them. Yeah. There should be a ta scale. Yeah. And instead of having an IQ scale, you should have a ta scale. There couldn't even be a test for it. Yeah. Oh shit. Here, walk the straight line. Hey, there's not even a net under there. Hey. That's genius right there, yeah? Oh shit. Oh man. Cool ideas on this show, yeah? Oh man. Oh, jeez. Well, there's a lot of people in this world with high ta levels. Yeah. Just look at this world, and you know what I mean. And so the media knows this, so the media can put out an idea, you know, and they can say it, and that there's been unconfirmed sources have been saying that blah de blah blah was going to blow up, you know, the whatever, yeah. And then so you have all these people in the world with high levels of ta in their system, and they're saying, "Hey, did you hear that? That guy over there was gonna blow up the what you call it?" Yeah, and they didn't. The words unconfirmed didn't even register. They just automatically interpret it as the truth. They left the word unconfirmed out. That didn't register, but this guy was going to blow up that place. That's what stayed in their mind. So that's what they hang on to. See, if that's how you are, you have a high level of ta in you. Yeah, cool phrase now here. Now I'm using it all serious. Oh my gosh. Anyway, that's how the world is, and the media knows that. So, and then to use words that are going to grab you emotionally, to so that you stay in the emotion, they're going to lose clarity, and you're going to believe something that may not even be true at all, because your ears did not register unconfirmed reports or unconfirmed sources, or you know or this is what we know so far. See, that just doesn't register to a lot of people. Yeah, I mean, I know somebody on the reservation, a full-blood Lakota woman whose first language was Lakota, and she used to buy these newspapers all the time. The Source, the Globe, the Inquirer, all these yellow journalism. And it's like, oh wow, did you hear that? She said there was a lady in Seattle, Washington that just gave birth to a baby that's half Bigfoot. Holy! And I, I was like, yeah, not even. I turned around here, she was dead serious. See right here. It says there's even a picture. She said, "This is a full-blood Lakota woman. Lakota is her first language, and she has a college degree. She has a university degree." And she believed this newspaper like it is the gospel. So this shows you, just because you're full blood don't mean you're smart. Just because you have a university degree doesn't mean you make sense. So you see what I mean? There's a lot of people in this world, educated and uneducated, that have high levels of ta in them. And the media knows this. And if you control the media, look at what you can do to influence the world and influence people, influence the actions of people. It's dangerous. It's really dangerous. So, that being said, this is why I really don't believe 100% what the news is saying. Yeah? Let's go back to the 1800s. Okay, let's get in our time machines and get ready. Hey. Okay, here we are. Anyway, back in the 1800s, when America was still on the east side, farmers were setting up camp in places like today, what it's known as Kansas, Arkansas, Missouri, that area. Farmers were setting up there, and they weren't supposed to be there. They were there illegally. So Indians were trying to chase them off, but they wouldn't go. So the United States military got this idea. They said, "Hey, let's dress up like Indians, and let's kill some of these farmers, and rape their women and children, and then we'll kill them too. And then we'll report it to the media and say, look at what these Indians did." And that's what happened. So you have these were United States soldiers under the direction of United States military leaders of the day. They dressed up as Indians and they went among these farmers. They slaughtered them, and then they told the media in places like Chicago and St. Louis. They told the media what the Indians did out there. So then the media then embellishes those stories even to make Indians look even worse. And that's what they print. Now when that hits the newsstands all over that part, that what's known as America at that time, it enraged the people. And they were saying, these Indians must be exterminated off the face of the earth. These are the devil's people. Now, during that time period, there was a woman by the name of Susan B. Anthony, and she was fighting for the rights of women. She was America's first well-known active feminist, and because at that time, women were not allowed to vote. Women were not allowed to get paid for work. Women were seen as property. And she was fighting against that. And she was fighting to free the slaves. Because they had black slaves from Africa during that time. They viewed the black people as animals. And Susan B. Anthony was saying, no, they are not animals. They are humans. They need to be free. But when it came to Indians, the same woman was calling for the extermination of all Indian people. How about that? Yeah. On one hand, she's saying the black people are humans; they must be set free. Her other hand is saying Indians are shit, and they must be exterminated. Isn't that interesting? And all this was generated by the media and the United States military. Because remember, it was the military that dressed up as Indians and did all this stuff and then blamed it on the Indians. See, the United States has been doing that ever since that time. And you know what? The United States was doing that even before there was a United States. Before the 13 colonies revolted against England, because these were British colonies at the time. They dressed up as Indians, and there was a ship in Boston, the Boston Harbor, filled with tea that was supposed to go back to England. They dressed up as Indians and threw all the tea in the water, and they call it the Boston Tea Party. And they made it to look like Indians did it. And then they declared independence from England, and then the Revolutionary War happens, then England retreats, and the United States is born. So even from the beginning, America was doing this. They were pretending to be the enemy, and then they choose somebody to be the enemy, and then they pretend to be them, and they attack their own people, and blame it on the other people, and tell it to the media. The media reports it, embellishes it, and so all of America is now against that people. That happened to Indians. Now it's happening to Muslims. Yeah. So that's why I 100% believe that America was behind the September 11th attacks in New York City and the Pentagon attacks as well. and that other one where the plane crashed and outside. And I really, really, truly believe America was behind that 100%, without a doubt, because they did that to Indians. They dressed up like us. They made it look like. I think they set up a lot of these guys, and they had to do this. They were forced to do this. Yeah. So, when you look at these attacks and look at what this father was saying about his son, his son, yes, his son converted to Islam, but he said he's kind of a dumb guy. He's not smart. Yeah. He doesn't have the brains to pull something off like that. I mean, I know it sounds funny, but his dad might be telling the truth here. So now they're on CNN. They're trying to downplay the dad. They're trying to make the dad look like an idiot. And the reality is, he's probably telling the truth. If it wasn't the FBI, it might be somebody else. He might be wrong in saying that it's the FBI, but he might be right too. Yeah, because when you have an incident that happens, you have to do something to quell the people's the way they feel and stuff like that. So you have to say, okay, we're arresting all these terrorists, and these terrorists were plotting to blow up the M&M's chocolate factory, and we caught them just in time, and things like this, and that probably never even happened, but they made it up. They even arrested people. Do you see what I mean? Now, I think America is also behind ISIS. I'm pretty sure they're behind Al Qaeda, and I also think they're behind ISIS, which means they're behind these attacks in France too. I started to think like that when nobody showed up for that march they had. Yeah, that no big American leader showed up for that, because I started to think, yeah, something to think about. Yeah, this is something to think about. And so that's why I said be careful. When you're listening to the news, you have to realize that there's certain entities that they own the media, and they control it. And if they control it, they can control the way people think in this world. That's why I said to you this example of what happened in the 1800s in America, when they made it look like Indians did all these things, and they never even did that. Yeah, and then the result was that all of America was calling for the extermination of Indian people. That happened. America committed that. America also committed chemical warfare against Indian people, yeah, by giving smallpox blankets to Indians that were freezing in the wintertime. They put smallpox in those blankets on purpose. That's a chemical warfare. That's terrorism. Yeah. So they pretended to be the terrorists to blame that group, and now that group was catching hell. That's the American way. That's part of the American way. That's part of the American dream. To control both the good and the evil. If you can be both the enemy and the good guy, you can control the world. That's duality. When you're living a healthy life, part of that process includes getting to know yourself. Yeah? You take the time to do that. And that's how you come to peace with the difficulties from your past. So that way you know how to deal with your future difficulties in a healthy way. Because life includes that. It includes good times. It includes the difficulties. The difficulty is just something that's in process. It's not done yet. And you have the power to do something about it, so that the result is a blessing. And you do that by making the best of it and learning from it as much as you can. Yeah, you learn how did that happen, how does it work, and all whatever it is. Learn what you can about it, so that you gain knowledge and wisdom, and you become at peace with it. It doesn't bother you after that. Yeah, that's how you do that. So, um, when you are this way, then you have a life skill, one of the most valuable life skills that you'll ever have, and that is that when you encounter something new for the first time, you take the time to check it out. Yeah, you, you just take that time. You don't believe it right away. You just take that time. So, what this also says is that for those people who believe anything, like the woman I told you about who believed the Enquirer story of some lady having a baby that was half Bigfoot. See what that says? It says she doesn't know herself. She didn't take the time to check herself out, so she has no peace within herself. And if you're that kind of person, that also means you do not know yourself. So for all those non-Indians who think they're Indians in the past life, so they want to, do the Indian things in this life, you're in that same group. You don't know yourself. It means you don't have peace in yourself. And you're on a very difficult road in which you are putting a bunch of obstacles in there that are totally unnecessary. So you're making your life more difficult than it really is. Yeah? So, just keep that in mind. Yeah? So when you watch the news and you see these things happening, and I think all this is being orchestrated in the background by some entity to keep people scared. And what can benefit from that? Buying guns, buying security systems, yeah, buying bulletproof vests, yeah, going to certain stores to, for certain products. This, to put fear in people like this, people can make money from that. Yeah, that's why there's war, because it's governments that are making money from it. So there's always something, go to a country and just mess the shit out of it up and then fix it. And all that is a money-making opportunity. So, like I said, I think there's something much more to this. And for those of you that were aware of what was happening back in the 90s and 80s and even before that, down in Nicaragua and Central America, America was doing all kinds of this stuff down there. I think they were practicing. Yeah, until they got really good at it. They said, all right, now let's get down to business and let's create a world atmosphere of fear, and let's do it in this way and scare the shit out of the whole world, and let's make us some money. Let's be the good guy and be the bad guy at the same time. And we're going to have all these people, we're going to pull their strings, and they're going to have no idea that they're puppets. They really think they're making all these choices, but it's really us who's going to be controlling it. Who is that organization that's doing that? This is food for thought, okay? I'm not asking for you to agree with me, or I'm not even asking you to believe me. What I'm asking you to do is to think about it, to challenge yourself, challenge the way you see things. Yeah, challenge the boundaries that you set for yourself of what is right and what is wrong. Because there might be something that was put there that you were totally unaware of. And you didn't put it there, but yet it got there through the media, through some computer program that you didn't even know. Yeah, it's really interesting. Yeah, because when you live a healthy life, you're really more aware of what's going on. When you're not living that way, you're not aware. You have lack of clarity, and you end up believing these stories of women having babies for Bigfoots. Do you see what I mean? You have to really be careful. So, what is your ta-ta level? Yeah? You have to, living a healthy life, you'll have a low score, and that's what you want, is the lowest score possible. That means you're healthy, yeah? Oh my. This guy. Yeah, my son's not that smart to do something like that. He doesn't even have any money. How's he going to buy all those guys? It's just funny to hear. Oh my. So anyway, like I said, I just ask that you think about this, nothing more. Yeah. You never know, You thinking about it might lead to other things. Yeah, might lead to, you might come up with some other ideas and yeah. What was the reason behind the hostess Twinkie? Hey. Who came up with that idea as a genius? Eh? It addicts anybody who eats it, yeah? Do they still make those? I remember a few years ago where they said they were going to stop making them and shit. I thought the world was going to end at that time. Oh, man. Oh, gosh. Goop, googly goop, as somebody used to say on the Sanford and Son show. For those of you who know that show. Oh my. So anyway, that, like I said, I just all I do is I just ask that you think about it, nothing more. Challenge yourself and yeah, see what you come up with.